Good morning, students. Myself Anil Tripathi from US Academia Institute, Gorakhpur. Today's topic is computer system. What is computer and what are the devices of the computers? So now we will learn in this chapter, in this lecture, introduction of computer system, type of peripheral devices of the computer system. In that we will learn what is input device, what is output devices, what is central processing unit, and we will learn history of computer system. Then we will learn the generation of the computer system. In that we will learn what the first generation computer, what is in second generation computer, in third, in fourth, and then fifth generation computer. And we will learn memory unit. We will learn the component of CPU, part of the CPU, and how the data transfer from memory to CPU and from CPU to memory. So now we will learn the first point. What is computer? As we know, computer is an electronic device that can be programmable and that accept the input and process the input data and produce the result. We can say computer is an programmable electronic device that accept input from the user, then process the data as per instruction given by user and produce result, that is output. So computer worked together. Computer is a system device, not a single component. Computer system means collection of number of objects working together, number of objects working together, that is known as system work. So computer is a device that is system device, means it is collection of parts, collection of object, collection of devices. So in computer system we have two components, hardware and software. So hardware and software working together. Without software, hardware is nothing, and without hardware, software is nothing. A computer system primarily comprises central processing unit. When we will start, you have learned computer system having three kinds of the device: input, central processing unit, and output devices. Input device that accept the input device are those devices that input the data or instruction to the CPU. CPU process the data. After that, produce the result that we can see, that we can feel from the output device. So now we are going to learn the main component of the computer is CPU, central processing unit. Central processing unit work in between input device and output device. Central processing unit, always known as the brain of computer. Just like human have the brain, control the overall body part of human, same as CPU is brain of computer. It is commonly called processor. CPU is known as microprocessor. It is CPU is collection of integrated circuit, IC. Number of IC are composed and make a microprocessor. So now we have learned what is central processing unit. Central processing unit work in between input and output devices that accept the data or instruction from the input devices, and CPU process overall processing done by the CPU. The data or instruction that computer has received from the input devices, that will be processed by the CPU as per instruction and produce the result. Due to that reason, CPU is known as brain of computer. Just like without soul, without brain of human cannot perform any work, useless. Same as without CPU, computer is nothing. Now, the data that received from the input devices, that will be in the RAM. How does computer system processing? I am going to tell. The data that we have input from the keyboard or mouse, the instruction or data comes to the CPU. In CPU, first it will be moved in the RAM, random access memory. Overall processing, the data and instruction processing in place, RAM only. In computer system, smallest unit that is known as register. The CPU store data as well as instruction. CPU store data as well as instruction in its local memory called register. The data that is entered by the input devices and the instruction that is entered by the input devices, that will be stored in the CPU in which memory? That is register. And in CPU there is several register, not a single register. Data will be in another register, instruction will be another register. So different register are used to store the data, instruction and intermediate result. Intermediate result means, suppose that we have calculate complex data. So complex data will be transferred from one variable to another. So transformation will be from one variable to another. The intermediate variable that we have used, same as some intermediate register work to transfer the data from one process to another. Now, mainly CPU having three components: ALU, arithmetic and logical unit; control unit, CU; and memory unit. So CPU is having three main components: ALU, CU and memory unit. ALU perform all the arithmetical and logical operation that need to be done as per the instruction in the program. Means all the calculation of arithmetical and logical unit processed by the ALU unit of CPU as per the instruction given by the user. It means user has given any logical process, logical instruction or arithmetical instruction. So arithmetical instructions processing or logical instruction processing will take place by the ALU. Control unit, CU control unit, sequential instruction execution, interrupts instruction and guide data flow from computer's memory. As per the name, control unit, it control the overall operation, transformation of data and transformation of instruction. The overall flow of data and instruction will be controlled by the control unit. Arithmetical logical unit perform the calculation. But overall transformation of the instruction and data is to be controlled by control unit. One another memory unit that is known as internal memory, RAM or ROM. RAM and ROM. Computers having two kinds of internal memory, that is RAM and ROM. Overall processing done in RAM only. So, computer having three main parts: arithmetic and logical unit, control unit, and memory unit. Now, we are going to learn throughout the block diagram of computer. You can see in this image a CPU. See the diagram of CPU: memory unit, control unit, and arithmetic and logical unit. First input CPU, then output. Input unit means the input devices that we are using to enter the data and instruction to the CPU, such as keyboard, mouse, light, pen, joystick, scanner, so many is there. The data and instruction entered by the input unit is to be received by the CPU. In CPU, first it to be goes to the memory unit. As per instruction given by the input unit, data will be taken by control unit and transferred to the ALU. After that, ALU calculation is to be received by the control unit, then it to be sent back memory unit. Like that, overall processing is transformed. After that, after processing, we can see the result on the output unit, that will be monitor, or we can take the printout from the printer. After processing, we can store our data in input data or output data in computer system permanently. In computer system permanently, that will be known as secondary memory. In secondary memory, as a hard disk, CD, pen drive, DVD, or your memory card. So you have learned the overall structure, block diagram of the computer. Once again, the data, that is data and instruction input by the input devices, that to be received by the CPU. In CPU, first goes to the memory unit. Memory unit in sense internal memory, that is RAM. From the RAM is to be received by the control unit. Then as per instruction, control unit transfer the data to the ALU, arithmetical and logical unit. After performing the operation, the output or data that will be as a result is to be received by the control unit, and again is to be sent memory unit. From there, we will see the output on the monitor or take the printout. The data that we have received as a output or data that we have entered from the keyboard, we can save in the secondary memory device. From there, input and output again. The data that you have received, you can take as a input. See here, first save and then again take the data from the hard disk or pen drive and copy in the RAM only. Means the data that you have saved in the secondary memory, from there we can take our file or our data as an input. What is input device? Next topic is, what is input device? The device throughout which control signal are sent to the computer are termed as input device. Which type of signal? Control signal are sent to the computer are termed as input device. This device convert the input data into digital form. Which form? Digital form. Digital form that is applicable by the computer system. Some example of input devices input device as a keyboard, mouse, scanner, joystick, light pen, VCR, MICR, OCR, so many is there. Means the data and instruction entered by the input device in the form of digital signal, in the form of digital signal, because our computer system understand only process the digital data, because we are using digital computer now. So this device convert the input data into digital form that is applicable by the computer system. So now computer system will understand what data you have entered and what the instruction that is given by the user. Data entered throughout the input device is temporarily stored in the main memory, that is RAM. Just before that I have explained the data that is entered by the user or by the input device, input unit, that is to be received in the RAM of the computer system for permanent storage. For the use, the data will as instruction is stored permanently in additional location called secondary memory. The data that is entered by the input unit in the digital form is to be received in the RAM. After that, if you want to store permanently in the computer system, we can store in the secondary memory storage device. There is to be hard disk, CD, DVD, pen drive, etc., etc. Some of the input devices images I have given here, and already you have learned: keyboard, mouse, webcam, scanner, joystick, touchpad, light pen, VCR, MICR, OCR, so many is there. Now, what is output device? The device that received the data from the CPU, the data that received, device that received data from computer system for display, peripheral, production, etc. It's called output device. It converts digital information into human understandable form. Means the data that is processed inside in the CPU, that will be in the form of binary 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0 form, digital form. If same as data will be displayed at the desktop on the monitor, general human will not understand 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0 binary, not understand. Then the data that received by the output device, it convert to human understandable form. Means the data that is implemented in the CPU, that is in the binary form, that will be received by the CPU, monitor, convert into image form, convert into text form, convert into video form, convert into audio form, whatever, human readable, human understandable form. Some of the output device such as monitor, projector, headphone, speaker, printer, so many is there. Mostly we are using monitor to display the data. After that, commonly used output device is printer. Printer is that most commonly used device to get output in the physical hard copy form. This type of commonly used printer are inkjet, laserjet, so many type of printer we have. Now, let's we understand the type of output device. Mainly output devices two type: soft copy output device and hard copy output device. Soft copy output device and hard copy. Soft copy output device that produce the result in the digital form, and that output human cannot store for the long time. That will be soft copy. Hard copy means the output that is in the printed form. That will be hard copy. Human can take it and keep it for the long time, long duration. So soft copy output devices will be speaker, monitor. From there we can see, but we cannot store. We can see, we can observe it, but human cannot store that data for the long time. But the result that is produced by the printer on the paper, so result that we have take the printout on the paper, we can store for the long time, long duration. That will be called hard copy. So soft copy output device will be monitor, projector and speaker. Only can display. Human cannot store it. Soft copy output device only display the result, such as monitor, projector and speaker. But hard copy output devices will be printer, plotter, thermer, so many is there. From this device, hard copy device, we can take printout of output. Now here you can learn briefly printer. Printer is two type, impact printer, non-impact printer. On behalf of technology, again I am saying, when we classified the printer on behalf of technology, the printer is two type, impact printer, non-impact printer. Impact printer, the printer that use ribbon hammer pins, means the printer that use more than one technology to print the output, that is impact printer. So impact printer always use ribbon, hammers and pins technology to take the printout on the paper. Non-impact printer only using cartridge, print head, and print the output on the paper. So impact printer, dot matrix printer, daisy wheel printer, drum printer, so many is there. Non-impact printer, inkjet and laser printer. Now on behalf of, you have learned on basis of technology, printer is two type. But when we classify the printer on behalf of performance, the printer is three type. On behalf of technology, printer is two type, impact and non-impact printer. But on behalf of performance, printer is three type. First is line printer, first is character printer, second is line printer and third is page printer. First is character printer, second is line printer and third is page printer. Now I want to explain briefly what is character printer. Character printer print a character at a time. Character printer print a character at a time, means a character printer print a single character at a time, means it print the line character by character. Then comes is the line information. Character by character, first character, then second character, then third character, then fourth, means it print output character by character. Due to that reason it is known as character printer. So character printer print a single character at a time. It produce the result character by character, where line printer print a whole line at a time. Print a whole line, the whole row at a time. So line printer is faster than the character printer. Then comes page printer. Page printer print whole page at a time, more faster than the line printer. Page printer print whole page at a time. So page printer will be your laser printer or your Xerox machine, the whole page print at a time. Line printer is inkjet printer. Character printer is dot matrix printer. Now, computer memory. Computer system needs memory to store the data. Just like human we have memory. Without memory, human are also useless. So, a computer system need memory to store the data and instruction for the processing. Without storing the data and instruction, computer cannot process any kinds of the data. So, computer needs a memory to store the data and instruction. Whenever we talk about the memory of a computer system, we usually talk about the main memory, that is known as primary memory. The secondary memory is called storage device, where we store large amount of data permanently. Now, we are going to learn about the computer memory. Unit of memory. A computer system use binary number to store and process the data. Again I am saying each and everything is stored in the form of binary in the computer system. Even image, audio, video, everything, whatever. Any kinds of the data that is stored in the computer system, that will in the form of binary. So a computer system use binary number to store and process data. The binary digit, that will be 0 and 1, which are basic unit of memory. Basic unit of memory is digit, that will be 0 or 1, are called bits. 0 and 1 calls bits. These bits are grouped together in the form of word. When the number of bits together, then it will be called words. As you know, 8 bit is equal to 1 byte and 1 byte equal to 1 character. So now, when 4 bit collection of 4 bit is known as nibble. Collection of 4 bit equal to 1 nibble. 4 bit means, take the example 0000001, 4 bit, that is known as 1 nibble. So 1 nibble is equal to 4 bit and 1 byte is equal to 8 bit. So now here memory units of the digital data is explained here. 1 byte is equal to 8 bit and 1 KB is equal to 1024 byte. 1024 byte is equal to 1 kilobyte. And 1 MB, MB means megabyte, is equal to 1024 KB. 1 GB is equal to 1024 MB, megabyte. 1 TB, terabyte, is equal to 1024 GB. PB, petabyte, 1 petabyte is equal to 1024 TB. 1 exabyte is equal to 1024 PB. 1 zettabyte is equal to 1024 EB and 1 yottabyte is equal to 1024 ZB. So these are the memory unit. So just like what is the memory unit? In this form we can measure the capacity of the memory unit, memory devices. Just like we are measuring the length in the centimeter, then in feet, then in meter, then kilometer. Same as capacity of memory unit we can measure by the measurement units of digital data. So these are the units. By using these units we can measure the capacity of hard disk, CD, DVD or pen drive. Now, type of memory. Computer is having three type of memory: primary memory, cache memory, and secondary memory. Primary memory is known as internal memory, main memory, or semiconductor memory. I am going to tell you the four name of the primary memory. Don't be confused. Primary memory, main memory, semiconductor memory, or internal memory. Primary memory is known by these four name. Sometime you will see the main memory, don't be confused. You will see the internal memory, that is also primary memory. Semiconductor memory, that is primary memory. Second is cache memory, and third, see, secondary memory. Secondary memory is known as external memory or auxiliary memory. If someone is saying auxiliary memory, then it should be secondary memory. External memory, that should be secondary memory. So secondary memory is having the three name: secondary memory, external memory, and auxiliary memory. What is primary memory? Primary memory is essential memory for the computer system. Program and data both are stored in the primary memory, because before that I have explained the processing calculation will be take place in RAM. So primary memory is an essential component of computer system. Program and data are loaded into the primary memory before processing. Before processing, data and instruction load into primary memory. Due to that reason, primary memory is essential memory for the computer system. The CPU interacts directly with the primary memory to perform read or write operation in two types. After that, CPU process the data, receive the data from the primary memory. Primary memory means, if someone primary memory is two types: random access memory RAM, read only memory ROM. Random access memory, read and write memory. What is random access memory? Read write memory. Read only memory, their data will be restored, but we cannot modify. Read only, we can read the data that is stored in the ROM. Here type of memory is, type of internal memory is two type: RAM and ROM. RAM is two type: SDRAM, DRAM. SRAM means static RAM, DRAM means dynamic RAM. ROM means read only memory, that is three type: PROM, EPROM, double EPROM. RAM, first type of primary memory is RAM. RAM, random access memory, is volatile. Volatile means the data that is stored in the RAM, if computer system is shut down improperly or shut down or switch off, the data that is stored in the RAM, that will be lost. Means we cannot store any kinds of the data in the RAM permanently. They are only read only. Data and instruction will be loaded in the RAM. After processing, the data is to be changed as per the instruction given by the user. Volatile. Any data cannot be stored permanently in the RAM. It depends on the user. When you perform any kind of operation, the data is to be changed as per the operation in the RAM. So due to that reason, RAM is volatile. It to be changed as per instruction given by user. So as long as power is supplied to the computer, it retain the data in it, but as soon as power supply is turned off, all the contents of the RAM will be wiped out, wash out. Cannot be stored any data permanently. It used to store the data temporarily while the computer is working, only temporarily. Just now I have explained, as per instruction given by the user. If you want to play the audio data will be loaded into RAM. After that you have closed the audio and you have opened the video. So audio will be removed from the RAM and then video data will be loaded into RAM. RAM is classified into two types, static and dynamic. Static means built-in RAM in the computer system, just like in the laptop, RAM is fixed, static RAM. Dynamic, we can change as per requirement from the personal computer. We can replace the RAM as per need. So that will be dynamic RAM. Now what is ROM? ROM is non-volatile. The difference between RAM and ROM. RAM is volatile. RAM is volatile and ROM is non-volatile, which means it contents are not lost even when computer is turned off. It use as small but faster permanent storage for the contents which are relay change. For example, the startup programs. Now ROM store the data permanently in the computer system that cannot be changed by the user. It stores some system information. ROM is in the form of chips on the motherboard of the computer system, in the mobile or in the laptops in the form of chips. Built by the manufacturer, and manufacturer stores some processing program, some system information such as example booting information, device configuration information. When we start our computer system, how does computer system start automatically step by step? What the capacity of bus, what the capacity of cache memory, what is the capacity of ROM, these are the whole information. USB is connected or not connected, keyboard is connected or not connected, mouse is connected or not connected. The primarily basic information, basic driver is already stored in the ROM. That is to be loaded by the manufacturer of the computer system, manufacturer of the motherboard. By ROM, your computer system start step by step and get prepared the desktop. You have started the computer system, the black information appeared first from the screen. On the screen, that's appear from the ROM. BIOS system, CMOS system, these information stored in the ROM. From there we can set up our computer system. So ROM is three types: PROM, EEPROM, EEPROM. PROM is programmable read-only memory, means the data that is stored in the PROM, you can read it, cannot be changeable. Means it can be programmed by the user. Once programmed, data and instruction cannot be changed. Means the data and instruction that is stored in the PROM is to be used by the user but cannot be changed. EEPROM, erasable programmable read-only memory. Erasable programmable read-only memory. It can be programmed to erase the data, expose it to ultraviolet light, to program it, erase all the previous data. The program not required can erase ultraviolet, and which are required, retain it. Now third one is EEPROM, electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. This means data can be erased by applying electric field. No need ultraviolet, we can erase only portion of the chip. Data which are not required electrically permanently can be erasable, electrically erased from the ROM. Now, second type of memory, that is cache memory. Cache memory, as you know, cache meaning is transaction. Cache means exchange from one place to another, cache flow. You have learned, if your RAM is faster, computer system processing will be fast. RAM faster, computer system perform the operation, perform the task very fast. RAM slow, CPU will slow. Means RAM fast, CPU fast. RAM slow, CPU will process this slow. To speed up the operation of CPU, a very high speed memory is placed in between CPU and the primary memory known as cache memory. Just now I have explained. If RAM working fast, RAM transaction is fast, your CPU processing will be fast. If RAM will slow, data processing will be slow by the CPU. So now, to speed up the processing of the CPU, a cache memory is located in between RAM and CPU. Cache memory located in between RAM and CPU. It stores the copy of the data from primary memory and transform to the CPU, and then take the data from CPU and then transform to the RAM. Means is doing the transaction in between CPU and RAM. Again, it stores the copy of the data from frequently accessed primary memory location, thus reducing the average time required to access data from primary memory. When the CPU needs some data, it first examines the cache. So, it performing as a cache transaction, doing the transaction on behalf by the cache. If your cache memory's capacity is high, large capacity, then your computer system processing will be very fast. Now, secondary memory. Secondary memory's capacity is larger than the primary memory. Secondary memory's capacity is larger than the primary memory, and secondary memory can store the large amount of data permanently in the computer system. Means secondary storage device can store the data and instruction permanently in the computer system. Due to that reason, secondary memory is large amount of memory in the computer system that store large amount of data. It is non-volatile. The data that is stored, some of the memory in the secondary memory as a volatile, some of the memory as non-volatile. Both kinds of secondary memory we have. Just like hard disk, the data that we have stored, that will be volatile. As per need, we can delete the data, we can store the data from the hard disk. The data that we have stored in the pen drive, that will be volatile. We can delete and we can store. But the data that is stored in the ROM, CD-ROM, compact disk ROM, that will be non-volatile. So, some of the memory, some of the storage device, some of the secondary memory is volatile and some of the memory are non-volatile. Larger memory, if we are going to compare larger capacity memory in the computer system, that is hard disk. SSD, hard disk drive, secondary memory use as a input and output both operation. You can examine again the block diagram of the computer system that we have explained previously. The data that we have received from the CPU we can store in the secondary memory, and we can take the data and instruction from the secondary memory again in the CPU as an input. See the cycling. So secondary memory can work as an input and output both, IO operation, input output operation from the secondary memory. Some of the memories name is given here: pen drive, DVD, CD-ROM, memory card, magnetic tape, SSD. Now, data transformation between the memory and CPU, important topic. How the data is transformed inside the CPU. Data need to transform between CPU and memory, primary memory, as well as between the primary and secondary memory, or ALU to CU, CU to memory unit. So many circuits inside in the computer system. You have plugged your pen drive in the USB port. How the data is to be transferred from USB port to the RAM? If you will open your file that is showed in the pen drive, that data of the file is to be copied into loaded into RAM. So how is to be transformed from USB, from pen drive to RAM? Now I am going to explain. Is to be done by the bus, data transformation. The data transformation from one unit to another is to be done by the bus. Bus are in the form of wire. Bus is in the form of wire. On the motherboard you can see circuit wire pasted on the motherboard in the yellow colors. You can see it. Thin wires, pasted at the back side of the motherboard that make a circuit. So data transformation done by the bus. That bus are wire that carry the data from one circuit to another, from one unit to another. Just like we can take the example of bus that carry the passenger from one station to another. Nowadays we are traveling from the bus. So bus carry the passenger from one station to another. Same as in computer system, bus are in the form of wire that carry the data from one circuit to another, from one unit to another. Bus is three types: data bus, address bus, and control bus. Data bus, data between component, means data bus transfer the data from one circuit to another, from one unit to another. Data bus carry the data from one unit to another, from one digital circuit to another circuit. Address bus transfer the address between the CPU and main memory. Without address bus, where data will be processing, where to be processed? There is so many circuit. Example, if you have given the instruction for the mathematical manipulation, are your data will to transfer to the audio circuit? No. There main important role of the address bus. Address bus point where data will be, on which circuit your data will be processed. Address bus pointing the data processing unit. After that, data bus carry the data circuit to circuit. Means first working address bus, identify the circuit, then data bus carry the data from one circuit to another. Then third is control bus. to communicate control signal between the different component of a computer. It observes all the circuits, all the component of the computer system working or not, where the data bus identifies. So we can say control bus control the operation of address bus and data bus and communicate to all the circuit. Communicate control signals between the different component of computer system, means it provides the communication between all components of computer system. So you can see in the image CPU, memory, input output unit, all these units, first control bus working, then address bus working, then data bus working. Just now I have explained. Evolution of the computer, history of a computer. I am explaining very briefly. Time to time, as per duration, computer technologies changed. 500 BC first abacus, then 1642 Pascaline. Same day by day. I don't want to more focus in that. Day by day, computer system technologies are changed, advanced. So now we are going to learn generation of our computer system, what technology was used in the first generation and what is technology that we are using today. Now, first generation computer. First generation computer was developed in period 1946 and in between 1959. This period, in this period, the first generation of computer was developed. The technology that was used in first generation computer, that was vacuum tube. Which technology? In first generation computer technology, you use vacuum tube. And J.P. Cart and J.W. Muche invented the first generation computer, that name is ENIAC. ENIAC means electronic numerical integrated and calculator. Then EDVAC, electronic discrete variable automatic computer. I am going to tell all the three names. ENIAC, electronic numeric integrated and calculator. EDVAC, electronic discrete variable automatic computer. UNIVAC, universal automatic computer. These three computers was developed in first generation computer. What are the characteristics? I cannot say it is disadvantage. Characteristics of the first generation computer. This computer very big in the size, heavy weight up to 30 ton. Why big size? We can say its size is 20 by 40 square feet. Up to 20 by 40 square feet, the first generation computer was size. The first generation computer size was 20 by 40 square feet and weight is 30 ton. Why? Because in first generation computer vacuum tube technology was used, and in one computer 1600 vacuum tube was used. Due to that reason, its size is 20 by 40 square feet and size is 30 ton. 30 ton approx means 30 ton is equal to 300 quintal. You can multiply by 100, then you will convert into how many kgs there. These computers were very costly. See the how much size, component, 1600 vacuum tube. Due to that reason, it is costly. Store a small amount of data due to presence of magnetic drum. In this memory was used, that name is magnetic drum, and magnetic drum store a small amount of data. To input the data, punch card input device was used. In first generation computer, punch card input device were used to take as input. Large amount of energy consumption. A powerhouse is required to operate the first generation computer, and when computer system, first generation computer system was in working mode, running mode, it produced so much heat in the room. So a cooling device is required to cool down your first generation computer. And another characteristics, first generation computer were understand only binary language. Means general human cannot use first generation computer because general human are not familiar with the binary language. So first generation computer understand only binary language, take as a input. Now second generation computer. Second generation computer period was 1959 to 1965 in duration. In between, second generation computer were developed and transistor technology was used. In second generation computer, transistor technology was used in place of vacuum tube, and transistor is a small device in comparison of vacuum tube, very small. It takes less power. Due to transistor technology, second generation computers very small than the first generation computer. Now some second generation computer was Honeywell 400, IBM 7094, CDC 3600, Univac 1108. What are the advantages of second generation computer? Due to use of transistor, its computer size is decreased compared to the first generation computer. Just now I have explained. Transistor is up to the one transistor size is up to in the centimeter. So due to use of transistor, its size is reduced, smaller than the first generation computer, less energy and not produce so much heat as the first generation computer. It consume less energy. No more power is required to start the second generation computer. It understand assembly language. What is assembly language? Assembly language is alphabet and numeric language. Alphabet and numeric language is known as assembly language. So now second generation computer understand assembly language. It is easy to use than the first generation computer. Means second generation computer can easily use by the general human because general human are familiar with the alphabet and numeric. Low cost than the first generation computer. Its cost is low, no more expensive than the first generation computer. Better speed to calculate data in microsecond, where first generation computer process the data in millisecond, and here in second generation computer data process microsecond. So its speed is more than the first generation computer. Better portability as compared to the first generation, where first generation computer we cannot portrait from one location to another because that size is 20 by 40 square feet, and here its size is smaller than the first generation computer. So easily we can portrait from one place to another. What are the disadvantages of the second generation computer? Cooling system was required, because nowadays also computer required a cooling device, AC, because when we operate the long time, our computer system will heat up, then can crash the memory. So normal temperature of computer system using is 29 degrees Celsius, 29 to 35. After that, if you are using and your computer system will be too much heat, your memory, your electronic circuit can be crashed, can be burst. Constant maintenance was required. Its maintenance is also required. Only used for a specific purpose. Means second generation computer generally cannot use for more than one task. It is only especially used for the specific purpose. Now second generation computer we have learned, third generation we are going to learn. Third generation computer duration was 1965 to 1971, and it used IC integrated circuit technology. In third generation computer, IC technology was used, and what was the duration? 1965 to 1971. In between, third generation computer was developed and IC technology was used. Few examples of the third generation computer is given here. What are the advantages? I am going to explain you. IC integrated circuit. Number of transistor together composed, join and make a IC integrated circuit. Collection of the circuit. Collection of transistor known as IC. So where we are using 1000 IC, in second generation computer we are using 1000 transistor. In that place we can use one IC. So its size is also reduced, use less power, is in portrait. So many advantages of third generation computer in comparison to second generation. Cheaper as compared to second generation. They were fast and reliable. Use of IC computer provide small size in the second generation. IC improve the performance of the computer as compared to the previous computer. Previous computer in sense second generation computer. This generation of computer are big storage capacity, and it can store the large amount of data as compared to second generation computer. Instant punch card, we can use keyboard and mouse to enter the data and instruction in the third generation computer. These computers reduce the computational time from microsecond to nanosecond, more faster than the second generation computer. First generation compute the data in millisecond. Second generation computer data process in microsecond, and here third generation computer process the instruction in nanosecond. So its speed is more faster. So many advantages. Size is very smaller than the second generation. Easily we can portrait. Next is, what is disadvantage? IC. Due to using of IC chip are difficult to maintain. IC is integrated circuit, collection of circuit, so easily it can be heat up. If you use long time, IC can heat up and crash. So maintenance is required. Cooling device is required. Now fourth generation of computer. Fourth generation computer technology Duration was 1971 and 1980. In between 1971 and 1980 was fourth generation computer was developed, and the technology that was used, that name is VLSI, very large scale integrated. The technology is based on microprocessor. That's another name of microprocessor is VLSI, very large scale integrated. A microprocessor is used in a computer for any logical and arithmetical function, and it provides graphical user interface. Technology was exploited to offer more effort to users. In this generation, fourth generation computer, graphical user interface, window technology was introduced. Then user can easily communicate with the fourth generation computer. User can pass the instruction and data throughout the graphical user interface. So it is more easy than the third generation computer. And where the number of IC that we have used, that was used in the third generation, in that place only one microprocessor, only one VLSI can work to process the data, to process the arithmetical and logical work. Few examples are given here. IBM 4341, DC10, Star 1000, PUP 11. What was the advantage? Fastest in computation and size is get reduced as compared to the previous generation of the computer, because number of IC was used in the third generation. In that place only one VLSI. Heat generator is negligible, cannot produce so much heat. Small in size compared to the previous generation computer. Less maintenance is required. All type of high level language can be used to pass the instruction of a fourth generation computer. Means in this generation, high level language can be used to pass the, to instruct our computer system. And high level language is much similar than English language. High level language is very easy to learn and write for the general human, just like C, C++, Java, Visual Basic, Python, so many high level language where we are using to develop software and program. So its size is smaller, no more heat produced by the fourth generation computer, million instruction per second. Think it, a microcomputer, a microprocessor can process million instruction per second. Within 1 second, fourth generation computer can process million instruction. All the alphabet and numerical language were used to instruct fourth generation computer. Easy to rotate, no more power is required. Now, disadvantage: the microprocessor design and fabrication is very complex. Means microprocessor designing is very complex. Air cooling is required in many cases due to processor of presence of ICs. Some of the IC was used in fourth generation. Advanced technology is required to make the ICs. Next, fifth generation of computer. The period of fifth generation computer from 1982 onwards up till now, from 1982 till now. This generation is based on the artificial intelligence, to make our computer system artificial intelligence, like a human being can perform the task itself automatically, to make our computer system perform the task automatically, and computer system can understand all kinds of the language, all language. to make artificial intelligence. The aim of the fifth generation computer is to make device which could respond to the natural language input, capable to learn and self-organization. Means to make our computer system perform the task itself, and fifth generation computer understand what's all language, natural language. We can instruct in Hindi, we can instruct in English, we can instruct in Sanskrit, we can instruct the computer system in Urdu to make artificial intelligence. This generation is based on ULSI, ultra large scale integration, where fourth generation computer VLSI, here in fifth generation computer ULSI, ultra large scale integration. Technology resulting in the production of microprocessor chip having 10 million electronic component. Few example of fifth generation computer: desktop, laptop, notebook, ultra notebook and Chromebook. Advantage: what are the advantages of fifth generation? It is more reliable and work faster. It is available in different size and in unique feature. You can say today we have in different size of computer: laptop, notebook, desktop, palm top, mobile, so many size, in various size fifth generation computer available. It provides computer with more user friendly interface with multimedia feature. We can calculate, nowadays computer can calculate multimedia type of data: audio, video, alphabet, numeric, mathematical, logical, all kinds of the data can be manipulated in fifth generation computer. Disadvantage: they need very low level language and they make human brain dull and dumb. Yeah, the second point of disadvantage is really true. Today computer, calculator, mobile make human brain dull. If you want to calculate some of the data, always preferring the calculator. If you want to see the calendar, don't want to remember, open the mobile. So nowadays computer making human dull. We don't want to use our brain. Always preferring the computer, always preferring the calculator is making dull. Here you can see number of transistor per integrated circuit, time duration to time duration, integrated circuit was used. In 1940 to 1950, in between invention of the transistor. Transistor was invented into between 1940 to 1950. The only one transistor was used. In 1960, 1970, 1980, up to you can see here 2020. In this year, how much transistor used? See the graph, how much high. And the processor, one processor, Core i7, Pentium 4, Pentium 3, then Pentium. Day by day, we have increased the capacity of the microprocessor. So microprocessor is combination of ICs, combination of transistor. When we have make VLSI, ultra VLSI, and by composing the number of transistors. So you can see the graph in 1940 to 1950 only one. In here is the name of the processor, Intel micro. I am talking about for the Intel microprocessor that we are using in CPU or in laptop. As per time duration, microprocessor was invented, then increase the number of transistor in the computer system. Due to that reason, its processing capacity is high. Processing speed is going high. Now, thank you. And I want to tell you all, please subscribe my channel. After watching this video, watch another video, that is computer. And that you will learn how many type of computer: analog computer, digital computer, hybrid computer. And after that you have to watch software that is loaded in my channel. Please subscribe my channel. You will get notification when I will upload any lecture, and that is very beneficial for your academic career. Thank you.